Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. Passport bros, blue book gentlemen. Those are some of the words mainly used to describe men who are actually leaving the United States in droves to find love globally.
The passport bros are a phenomenon in the United States. And of course, they come with their critics, but they also come with the facts. And the facts are, it's hard to get a woman in America to be submissive. Now, this is not to say that you can't find them. All I'm trying to say is that it's quite difficult.
All right, so are passport bros changing the dating landscape and leaving modern-day American women behind? Joining us now to talk about all of this is licensed clinical social worker and certified sex therapist Deborah Fox. And to get a male perspective, we have Daily Flash staffers James Alexander and Matt Doolittle joining us here on set here. So we'll hear a little about that. By the way, guys, thanks for dressing up. Deborah, let's get back to you, the expert here. What do you think about when you hear these words, passport bros or blue book gentlemen? What comes to your mind?
Well, it comes to mind that there's some fraught things going on in our relationships these days. And I think that women are asking a lot of men these days. And therefore, men can feel blamed. Blame for what's not going well, for not chipping in enough, for not being emotionally intelligent enough. And also we live in very turbulent times. I think people, men and women, want to make connections. They don't want to feel they're walking alone through this crazy world all by themselves. And so perhaps there's an uptick and, I really want to make these connections.
I think
I think going abroad is kind of fraught.
And what is it about America that is different maybe than the other countries? Is it something that is just generationally different, or why do they have to leave the United States?
Well, that's a really good question. I can't speak for all countries, so my level of expertise has some limitations. But I do think that in all the things that I just listed, that there's a tendency to think the solution lies outside of ourselves.
Yeah. And
we have very little relationship education in our families and our culture. People think, oh, it just need to meet the right person. That's what the problem is. Not how do I connect with another human being? How do we build these bridges? How do we work things out? How do we deal with conflicts?
All right.
And so that tendency says, let's go elsewhere.
Thinking, well, I can't have this pond is pretty much taken up. Let's talk to the guys here. Yeah, I agree. You guys were bobbleheading here, saying, yeah, she's hitting a lot of good points. In what manner?
Well, I got back into the dating pool in my mid-30s, right? I don't go to bars as much. I'm in a different work environment where you're not around the same people 8 hours a day, so It was a little tougher. I met my current girlfriend on a dating app. So I wouldn't have even thought about going that way. And then if you look overseas, they do go out more. They're a little more, more interactive with each other. And on top of it, I got to look at it as my girlfriend has a law degree, so she's one click above me in that. So it's like, if we're long term, I'm not going to make a lot of money more than her. So
James, your thoughts?
I'm going to tell you here. I think what it is, and looking at this whole thing, I think women here are more masculine. They want a traditional lifestyle, but want to be modern women. And I think the guys are just tired of it. And I think that's the reason why going overseas, when you have women who are more traditional, it's better. They feel like it's better.
All right, he brought up a good point here, Deborah. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Do you think women are becoming too masculine?
I really think women are coming into their own. And of course, there's a continuum. When I was a young adult, women really did have to kind of put on the pantsuit and try to make that scarf look like a tie if you were going to compete in the C-suite or the, medical or legal professions, for sure. I think that all pendulums tend to come back towards the middle. There is a continuum, but I think the real issue is how do you connect with that person?
Yeah.
And whether they're submissive, dominant, those things are a small piece of the puzzle. They're not the bigger piece of the puzzle about how do you connect.
When you say that connection, because it is a big thing, are we looking for things that we don't have in our life, and is that a good thing? Should we think that we already have it and this person complements that? Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying. I really think it's more, how do you learn to be emotionally responsive to another person? Kindness is critical. Giving the other the benefit of the doubt is critical. Really getting to know that person is critical. And those are the things that I think are in short supply.
Yeah, well, we're in a society where we want everything right here and now. Let's move on to in the business world. According to the investment firm Morgan Stanley, by the year 2030, 45% of women between the ages of 25 and 44 will be single. How's this going to affect society?
Well, it's a seismic shift, is what it is, and I think that these solutions. First of all, maybe these women are. I believe them that that's what the statistics show, but I'm not going to say they're happily single.
Okay.
I think that we are wired for connection. We are born that way.
Right,
and the question is how to create that.
All right, James has got some.
So, I mean, if that's the case, then why are we why are women positioning themselves to be unhappy and whatever they're doing now is not working? So being masculine in society obviously is not working because they're going to be single. We're going to have more men go overseas looking for those connections. You can't get it here in the U.S., and that's the truth.
All right, you got about 30 seconds here to respond to that. I'll give it time to you.
So I would say that overseas, there's a lot of assumptions. Going overseas, there's a lot of assumptions and perhaps a fair amount of illusions, that you're going to find the right person as opposed to really learning more about how do you build the connection. With somebody, which I think is the crucial piece.
It always works out on 90 Day Fiancé the other way, too.
It's a good point here. All right.
It might, but that's not reality.
Nowhere near reality. You're right. Deborah Fox, we would love to have you back to talk more because this is not a one thing where we can solve on all that, but you have so much great dating advice.
It's my favorite topic.
It's so much great dating advice, and if you want to find out more, just go to debfox.com. She's on Instagram and Facebook as well. We got more Daily Flash coming up. Good news. These two are now going to start dating. They're just not each other.